Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump, run deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
We're about to make deposits into the bank of knowledge. Welcome back to Paranoi Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Trebles Garcia. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. If you guys are on YouTube right now, watching this right now, I want you to know that I appreciate it from the heart. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And one more time, like, share, and subscribe. The most important thing that you can do for the show today is word of mouth. Check us out at paranoidradio.com. That soon will be discontinued. I'm giving you a heads up announcement in the next 30 days. You're going to be using the hub. It's not going to be the .com anymore, but it's going to be a link tree. Reason for that is because I am moving money to give you better quality stuff. If you guys haven't noticed, we are building a brand here. And now that we're on YouTube, we got to stick it to the man with great stuff. Make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the freaking mood. Please welcome my next special guest. He's a patriot, he's a father, he's a business owner. He is my deep state correspondent, my political analyst. Please give a warm welcome to Flash the Stash. Wait, Flash from Flash underscore News 1.
I must ask you a question. What's up, everybody? Oh, man, it's been a while, bro. Oh, man, good to be back. Feels great to be back.
Did you just say I mustache you a question? Such a dad moment, bro. That was such a dad joke, bro. Yo, what's up, Flash? How you doing, bro?
Mustache Flash is here. I'm ready, brother. We got a lot of time to make up for it. Let's get right to it, bro.
Yo, for the people that do not know, Flash has been on the show for the past about 3 years, over 70 episodes, rocking it hard. He is the political element of the show. This is not a political podcast, but this episode is. So if you guys are inclined anywhere else but conservatism, your feelings are going to get hurt. I suggest you skip. All right. And it's not for the faint of hearts, guys. Remember that the show is made up of serial killers, political elements, cryptids, conspiracy topics, religious and spiritual topics with faith, and it's sprinkled with a little bit of comedy and banter. This is what Paranoi Radio is. We give the platform for the people that are open-minded and that have a message. So, Flash, thank you for being here again, bro. You are my brother in arms. We are from coast to coast in this moment right now. Let them know where they can find you before we jump in.
Yeah, man, over on Instagram, flashy_news1. Seem to be shadow ban lifted, so come check me out, man.
Flash from Flash_news1 is kicking ass. Flash the mustache, bro. Let's get into this political stuff, man. All right, the UN speech happened only about 6 hours ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Give it to us, bro.
Yeah. Wow. You know, for all the darkness that's been going on, this was a glimmer of light and a glimmer of hope. And I really hope people were listening. And I'm sure people weren't, though. The Trump haters, the never Trumpers, the black pillars, they didn't listen to it. And, you know, and they wouldn't believe it if they did listen to it. But if you know Trump, he went up there with conviction, with the American patriotism in his heart, and he gave them the business. He got up there, looked them all in their faces, called some out by names, told them he knows what they're doing with the mass migration. They're not slick. He told them that climate change is a hoax, that the Green New scam is a scam. He said wind turbines are the most expensive, most unreliable energy. Your countries are going to be destroyed if you go down this road. If you continue down this road of mass migrations, your countries will be destroyed, he told them. And he said, if you could say one thing, he's like, my most popular selling hat is Trump was right about everything hat. And he was like, I got to say, I'm not trying to brag, but he was like, I have been right about a lot. And he was like, I'm telling you right now, all these European nations, you're going to lose your countries. He was like, and he just gave it to him. But I was like, I mean, I expected a nice fiery speech, but this was like, bro, he was like, globalism is dead. The rise of patriotism is here. Sovereignty, the rise of populism. I mean, like, he was just everything you want to hear from not just a conservative leader. You know, he's not necessarily conservative, but just a patriot. Do you know what I mean? Like a patriotic message to these scum-sucking snakes at the UN, right? And these are all the people that hated this man, that never gave him a chance, that wrote him off after 2020. Thank God that he was gone. Now they're all kissing his ass now, right? Because now look, who got more NATO to spend more money? Donald Trump. Everyone was saying that he was going to leave NATO, right? No, he got NATO to go from not paying 2% to actually paying 5% of their GDP, right? So that means we could pay less. That saves us money. That's all the man is trying to do, is save the taxpayer money to make our country wealthy again. When he says that, he's not joking. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting all these investments, $17 trillion in foreign investments and domestic investments in the last 8 months, bro. Do you put like $17 trillion? Like that, it's going to take,
you can't even imagine that
years,
much money.
right? And it's going to take a couple years to go. You know, no one's saying it's happening today, but these are investments in our country, bro. So all these little rocky steps in the beginning, like, we're just starting. Like, and it's like, do people remember in the beginning of Biden administration that we had 9% inflation, skyrocketed over in 3 months, in the first 3 months? Like, you know, we were pulling out of war. People were like, bro, like, people forget how crazy it was and how crazy it is in the beginning of administration. We're still trying to find out who's who in the administration, who can we trust now? You know, even though we thought we could trust some people, maybe now we can't. You know, so things are revealing themselves. And we just have to stay on him, you know,
They turned off the escalator on him and on his wife.
Yeah, they turned
which
the
I would have been
teleprompter.
enraged.
Yo,
you could do
on,
to me,
bro.
but don't do it to my family, bro, you know? And then he turned off the teleprompter on him. And then he went from scale to scale. I invested in this freaking building. You guys rejected all my offers. And now you haven't even finished the job. The escalators are turning off and the freaking teleprompter can't even. I was like, dog, that fool's running.
And he was like, what is the UN even for? Why do we even have the UN? He's like, I'm doing all the work. I ended 7 wars without any of your help. You guys didn't call me. You didn't congratulate me. Well, you know, I should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize. You guys are up here talking shit. Bro, it was like full-throated, no hold bar, get it. And I think it was necessary right now. You know, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think it was, he meant it. You know, you could feel it. And then the room was dead silent, bro. You know, when that man speaks, you better listen. I mean, he's the leader of the free world. He's the leader of America, and you know, he's putting this country first. I mean, what's not to love at this point, really?
Damn, bro. Talking about the elephant in the room, bro. It's one of the biggest events that rocked the house. It took us about 3 weeks to get to that point, and that week you had a fire conversation with me, and we were prepping a show that same Tuesday. And something fell off.
Right.
God's timing. I don't know what it was. That we did not go and drop an episode. And then the Kirk assassination happened on live TV in front of hundreds of thousands of people watching it. And
we would have been on the mic, bro. It happened at 12:28. We would have been on the mic while it happened. That's wild.
The situation with Kirk is nuts, bro. Talk to me.
I mean, you know, everyone's talking about this, you know, exhaustively, extensively, you know, but I wanted to talk more about how the truth community has really reacted to it. You know, obviously Kirk had a lot of haters, you know, even in the far right, the Groypers, you know, the far right Nick Fuentes people, you know, all hated him. You know, some of the Candace Owens followers didn't like him because he was such a Zionist. And, you know, so he had a lot of enemies, you know, and anytime a major event happens like this, the Trump attempt assassination is a very good example. Very similar psyops were run immediately after, information psyops, right? Because now if we could just think back to exactly when did this all happen with Charlie Kirk, I'm talking seconds after his body hit the floor, people were saying Israel. Literally, it was just bot city. Anything you commented on, like, you know, when like they posted him getting shot, like all those accounts, people were saying Israel, Mossad, Israel flags, Israel. It was like the wildest coordinated information op I've seen in a really long time. It reminds me of the Trump assassination. After that, all of the wild things that, you know. So, you know, and I'm just sitting back watching it all, and I'm just like, okay, like I see the makings of a psyop going on here, you know, and people are just so thirsty right now. It's the thing to blame Israel. Like, it really is. It'll get you a following. It'll get you shares. It'll get you likes. It'll get you like the most popping thing on X. Really, because the far left loves it and the far right loves it, and even people in the middle are starting to feel that way too. So it really passes political bounds, you know, and people feel like, oh, this is what we can get united on, when they don't realize that that's actually the psyop, is to unite the far left and the far right, to get the far right to vote for far left. That's just why you got people like Sneeko, the podcaster who's supposedly far right, talking about Zohan Mardani is going to be a perfect pick for New York City for one reason: he doesn't like Israel. The fuck does that have to do with New York City? And then they say that people that like Israel first. No, they're putting Israel first in their policy decisions. If that's the most important thing, is your policy on Israel, your stance on Israel, you're not America first, because that is a foreign policy position. You know what I'm saying? So if you put that at the forefront of everything, then what are we even looking at here? You know what I mean? So it's this whole thing has got, and bro, how many times have I warned about this? And like like I got no engagement on those videos because it wasn't sexy and popular at the time, because I was warning about this exact moment right now where we are. That has divided the truth movement. It's made people pick sides. People that were never MAGA are now pretending to be MAGA, saying what MAGA is, telling people that have been MAGA this whole time what MAGA is and what it means to be MAGA and what you can't do. And, America first doesn't mean America only, first of all, right? That's not what that means. It never meant that. And the other thing is, show me a speech where Trump said he was going to defund Israel when he became president. So he was very clear about his stance on Israel. Now, we know how to read the situation, and we know that Israel's for last, and he's allowing Israel to expose itself. But take that off the table. He never ran on that. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, he said he would support Israel. So I'm not sure where people are confused here. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like he came back on a promise, or, you know what I mean? Not at all, actually. He's fulfilling his promises, every single one of them, whether you like them or not. And that's the thing. He has to be the president for all Americans, not just the far right, not just the left, for everybody, right? So, some things he has to come in the middle on, some things he has to bend and weave a little bit. That's what a good leader does, right? So the whole Charlie Kirk thing. So it's just, I just see what it's doing to the truth community. Now, Candace Owens, I hate to keep bringing her up and pointing her out, but
the narrative versus the truth.
This is what this is, right? And now I see a lot of narrative building rather than truth seeking, right? That's what I'm seeing, right? Because as soon as you blame Israel, right? And I haven't talked about this yet because I've been thinking about this, like how to word it. Because as soon as you blame Israel, you take that off, you take all other options off the table, right? And you're just like, and people are just so quick to think that that's what it is. That how easy of a psyop that would be to run from the LGBT community, from the Islam community. There's billions and billions of fucking Muslims out there. There's like 16 million Jews. Like, the numbers are and they have a lot of propaganda coming out of Gaza. That's just all I'm saying. I see a lot, and I see a lot of one-sidedness. If Israel controls everything, they can't even control the narrative. What are we talking about? They can't. I haven't seen one positive news story or podcaster or anyone dare say Israel is doing the right thing or whatever. It is the in thing to make fun of Israel or to point out Israel's atrocities, right? Literally.
They made popular themselves, yeah.
So now taking Charlie Kirk, the whole thing was, Israel did it because Charlie Kirk was starting to ask questions about Israel, right? But Charlie Kirk's questions were literally the questions that everybody was asking. He was asking them because people kept asking him at college campuses about Israel. He wanted to know how to better defend Israel. That's what he was inquiring about, right? Because he was getting a little frustrated, and he was getting frustrated with some of the donors, right? So that doesn't get you killed, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like 10 years of being a huge Zionist and one of the biggest supporters of Israel, having some questions, that's not what, that gets you a warning, that gets you threatened, that gets you those kinds of things, right? And supposedly that happened at some meeting. This is what Candace Owens picked up on. Bill Ackman, one of the Jewish donors, supposedly had this meeting out on his island, and like they threatened Charlie Kirk. But Candace Owens had no proof to that whatsoever. It comes out, all the people that were there said actually Charlie Kirk called the meeting. He called the meeting between pro-Israeli podcasters and anti-Israeli podcasters to meet and talk about and debate and figure out how to move forward with the younger generation and how to deliver the narrative of however they want to talk. So he actually called the meeting. He wasn't called to the island. It wasn't like, so they're flipping this whole thing, right, to make it seem. So now that's narrative building. Now you're building a narrative. You're taking selective things that didn't even happen. You're putting them together, and now you're telling people what they want to hear, right? And what Candace Owens does,
the entertainment portion of it,
bro, exactly,
entertainment,
bro. And
yeah.
Ever since she went solo, she is her own money bag now. So she has to keep it up. It's on an empire that's paying her like the Daily
And then
Wire
she goes,
anymore.
if you go behind my paywall, I'm gonna release some more.
Yeah,
on Tuesday, I'm gonna release some more.
Bro.
On my paywall, I'm gonna release some more. And then she keeps wanting you to fucking pay for more. And then there's nothing that comes out, bro.
If you got
1000%.
it, release it. If you got it, release it. You don't do this. This is supposedly your friend too, and that's the other thing. Now she's claiming they're friends. Charlie Kirk distanced himself from Candace Owens because of how unhinged she became. He said that they'll always be friends. They don't talk to each other anymore. He hadn't retweeted her in a long time. Now that she wants to act like they're best friends, and oh my God, this and that. Why weren't you invited to speak at Charlie Kirk's funeral then?
Oh,
if
damn.
You guys are such friends. And she was like, oh, I'm not going. You're not going because you weren't invited, and you don't want to show up just to be like everybody else. You don't want to be like an average Joe Schmo waiting in line. You wanted to be up there talking, and you didn't. And so now it's bitter. She was like, oh, like Erica Kirk hasn't told me to shut up yet. Maybe you know how busy that woman is, and so this is the inevitable conclusion of this rabbit hole, right? Now people are actually blaming Erica Kirk that she was involved in this because she was Team Miss USA back in 2012 when Trump owned Team Miss USA. Somehow that they're connecting that fucking means something somehow. That she was involved in sex trafficking in Romania with an adoption agency, and that you can see it in her eyes, and she did this on the screen, which means I love you.
Wait,
Bro.
wait, guys. Wait, I took American Sign Language, guys. I love you.
Right.
You know what this fucking stands for, you stupid asses? I'm sorry to fucking say this.
Exactly, bro.
She wasn't going like this, bro. She was going
clearly
like
went
this.
like that, bro.
That's I love you
and
in
she went
American
like up
Sign
to the
Language.
sky.
And then
Like, come on,
she
bro.
threw it out to the public. You guys are fucking retarded, bro.
That's no better than saying that Elon did a Nazi symbol when he did that, right? That's the same thing. Like, you guys are the left now. Like come on, like so. Yeah. That's narrative building, right? So and then that's the inevitable conclusion. So because since Candace Owens isn't showing any proof and she continues asking questions upon questions that haven't been answered yet, it forces people to go dig and try to prove her right because they're trying to defend Candace instead of seeking the truth. Stop defending Candace and start seeking the truth. That is all I'm saying, because everyone's saying
basically,
you can ask questions, you can ask questions, but you can't ask questions to Candace Owens. Like, why do the questions stop once I start questioning her? That's when people come out and say, "Oh, you're far." Why? I'm actually asking questions. I'm staying open to all possible that it could be Israel. Okay, absolutely, it could be any of these people, right? Or it also could be. Sometimes the most obvious thing is the thing, right? A far left activist with a trans girlfriend shot him while he was being asked about a trans question, right? From Antifa, from LGBTQ. Now these people with these armed Antifa groups are deleting their IG pages. They posted 5 days before, watched the news on September 10th. Right when it happened, they posted on X, we effing did it, right? With exclamation points. So there was prior knowledge to this, right? The FBI can't give us answers they don't have yet. It's only been a week and like 2 days. They haven't figured it out yet. Like, maybe they're being played. Okay, possibly, but they don't know that yet. Just because some random person on the internet figured it out doesn't mean, like, number one, that that's true, and number two, that they're not even looking at that. And then Cash Patel came out with a post, and he said, listen, he's aware of all of this, the conspiracies and all of the rhetoric. He's looking into all of it. He looked into the airplane that took off. That was debunked. That had nothing to do with anything. He's looking at the possibly another shooter, possibly, so these things are being looked into. And obviously, we're not being told everything. I agree. I don't necessarily believe anything that's coming out of the FBI, but people are saying about the text messages, right? That it was AI generated, or that it looks like it was manufactured, and that's a sign that the FBI is covering it up. Or it could have been Tyler Robinson manufacturing those text messages with his boyfriend to absolve the boyfriend of any wrongdoing. They made it seem like she was innocent, like the trans boyfriend. So maybe they manufactured it together to make it seem like she was innocent. Like, you have to think of that as a possibility too. You can't just assume that means something it doesn't mean. We don't know what it means yet. We know it's manufactured, yes, but it could easily have been manufactured by them to absolve all of the other people in the group chat and him take the blame. That's 101, right? So I don't know what I believe yet, but you don't have to know. I'd rather be right than first. So I'm still waiting on this information, but the narrative versus the truth is such an important concept right now in the truth community that no one's really talking about. I see a lot of narrative building, and I see a lot of less truth seeking, and it's big accounts, and it's the mainstream media. But, like, you don't think they're going to infiltrate podcasters the same way they infiltrated the mainstream media, knowing that Donald Trump won the election because of podcasters this last election? You don't think our enemy is adapting? You don't think they're as smart as that? Of course they are. Of course they are. All this money's coming into this podcasting shit now, So, and I see people on the Flagrant podcast.
The new mainstream media.
100%, bro. And they're already flipping. They're already going left. You see Flagrant, the Flagrant podcast, all these people that were pro-Trump are now slightly going on the other way. They're having Bernie Sanders. They're having Gavin Newsom on, and they're trying to be like, oh, this guy has a good side. The flip is coming, bro, because they infiltrated. It's infiltration instead of invasion.
Nick Fuentes, bro. Hit me.
Bro, it's so funny. So Nick, like, me and him have been, I've never really agreed. I agree with some of his stuff. I think he's a really smart guy. But, I just think that the whole anti-Semitism stuff goes a little far with him. But he's right about a lot of stuff, So, I call people out when they're right, when they're wrong. And he's right about a lot of stuff. But recently, I've seen he's actually come into some more common sense. He called out the whole Israel narrative. I did it like right away. And then he came out and was like, listen, why are we blaming Israel all of a sudden? Like, why are we automatically thinking that this with no proof? He called out Candace too. And he's kind of singing not my same tune, more of a like a not a moderate, but more common sense, bro. And he called it out as low IQ anti-Semitism, which I thought was actually brilliant. I didn't come up with that, he did. And he said that pretty much what that is just automatically blaming Israel, automatically blaming, even though if you hit that button, you're right 95% of the time, but you can't hit it every time, right? Because then when you're not right, it takes away from the true evil that is domestically growing in this country, and that has been for quite some time.
It makes people lazy.
Exactly, bro. And right. And people
emotional
just confirmation bias, right? And then anybody that defends, I don't defend Israel. I'm defending the truth. I'm defending the truth seeking process. So when I come out and say it's not this, I'm not a Zionist. I don't give a shit about either of those countries. Honestly, I'm sorry. I'm not Jewish. I don't have any Jewish friends. It's not my thing, right? So I can actually call balls and strikes on this because I'm not involved at all either side. So that's a huge part of this, right? So like you can't just every time you do that, you stop the process, right? And it could be Israel, and we'll get there. We'll find out. We'll find it out. But you don't have to just stamp it and just say that's what it is and that's it. Here we go. I won. I got it first.
And that, guys, is the full run-up. You haven't been here for a little over a month. And I'm going to tell you something. The wait was amazing because you came and you delivered. It was all worth it. The amazing information that you put out on a daily basis on your blogs, on your Instagram account is unique. It's overwhelming. It's super consistent. And you deliver it with logic, not magic, and not from an emotional place. Please let them know one more time, Flash, where they can find you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother, man. I'm over on Instagram, Flash_News1. Come check me out. Like you said, I'm putting out daily stuff, trying to keep up with the news cycle, busting propaganda anywhere I see it, left, right, center.
Guys, you can find him on the description of the show. That's where you'll find his Instagram account and his X account, formerly known as Twitter. Please let him know what you think. Drop a comment today and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace. That was awesome.
Let's fucking go, bro.